Alright, so I'm about to try to fix these horn buttons with the spring inside the little assembly and the top plate on it with the plastic piece on top resting. It sits about that far off, so that's where that spring's trying to push it. Now, I measured with my high-tech instrument the distance that the plastic piece is sitting up off of the surface of the steering wheel, and I figured out where it needs to sit based on where these little clips max out at. So I set that in there, and once it gets in there, I'm not going to pop it in there, but it's just flush with the steering wheel, just barely above it. So that's way too high. And this spring here sits on these little tabs in there, which raise it up just a little bit less than that line. So I'm going to cut those out, and hopefully it'll lower that spring down enough to where there isn't as much constant tension on those little plastic clips. Hopefully I don't mess it. Yep, worked pretty well. Once I get the new horn buttons in, it's gonna look a lot nicer. These still have the legs broken off of them, but even with that, they sit nice and flush if I get them right. Just took a knife, cut out those little legs, and the spring sat down in there far enough for the top plate to sit low enough. So yep, much better with those on there. So I filmed the first part of this video about 8 months ago, and just never filmed the second part, but I'm getting around to it now. So previously I gave a little bit of a idea of how I was going to try to fix these horn buttons, and I cut out the little standoffs in the bottom. This is the finished deal. What I ended up doing was I got these aftermarket horn buttons. They don't have like the horn logo or anything on them, but they fit perfect, and the spring does just as I thought it would. Allows the button to sit at the perfect height. I've had no problems for the last 8 months. Horn works perfect, both sides. And yeah, the only problem I ran into was I got these, they were kind of cheap, oily plastic, and I mean, you know, strong enough, but they looked weird. And so they had this oily look to them. So what I did was I just put them on a paper plate, and I bed lined them just with some I guess Rust-Oleum Walmart bed liner, but that did really well, and they look good. They look like part of the car. I mean, they are part of the car, but they look like they're meant to be there, and definitely improved the look of my interior. So yep, it's a good fix for a broken horn button, and especially with these Discovery 2s, they persistently break. I guess somewhere along the line there was a manufacturing miscommunication, because that spring in there is way too strong or way too far forward. Anyway, that's the finished product. Thanks for watching.